Hi, Math 2. I'm once again on page 1 of your toolkit, and I'm going to talk about finding the x-intercepts of parabolas. And we're going to spend quite some time on this topic because there's many different ways of doing this. This is the first method that we're going to utilize, though. I know that the x-intercepts of my parabola can be found by solving for the zeros or roots of a quadratic equation that is written in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And I'm going to write a little note to the side for us to remember that this form is what we're calling standard form. I have everything to one side of my equation with equals 0 on the right-hand side. So let's get started. I want to use what we have from the previous video where we talked about the zero product property to solve for x. 2x squared plus 7x plus 3 equals 0. I know that my equation is in standard form, so we're good to go. Now, in order to use the zero product property, I have to have this equation written as a product of two factors. So my factor number 1 times my factor number 2. Right now we don't have that though. So in order to do so, I'm going to factor my quadratic equation. And this is why we spent so much time last semester and even last week reviewing factoring. So I'm going to set up my box to help me factor. And you're welcome to use whatever method you've been using to factor. I'm going to put my 2x squared in the top left of my box and my plus 3 in the bottom right. From there, I'll set up my diamond problem. I know that in my diamond problem, the top comes from the product of my 2x squared times 3, which is 6x squared. And then the bottom half of my diamond problem comes from the middle term in my quadratic equation, which for us today is 7x. Now I need to come up with two numbers or two terms that will multiply to 6x squared and they will add to 7x. That is 6x and 1x. So I add those into my area model. I find my missing dimensions. I know that 2x squared and 1x have an x in common. X times 2x gives me 2x squared. X times a positive 1 gives me 1x. 2x times positive 3 equals 6x. And yes, 1 times 3 equals 3. So those become my factors to fill into the factored form of the equation. We have 2x plus 1 times x plus 3 equals 0. Now I'm going to solve for both of my roots or zeros using my zero product property, or ZPP. I need to split into two separate equations, which are 2x plus 1 equals 0 and x plus 3 equals 0. And I'm going to solve both of them for x. So we get x equals negative 1/2 or x equals negative 3. Now, we're solving for x-intercepts. That's telling me that if my equation had originally started in the form 2x squared plus 7x plus 3 equals y, that I made my y value equal 0. That tells me that if this was a function and I was solving for the x-intercepts, the y values would need to be 0 for both of those points. And my x's would be negative 1/2 and negative 3. And there you have it. Example number 1 for finding x-intercepts of a parabola.